Hello everyone, hope you guys are having a good day. Today is March 21st, and I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about this week's severe weather, and we're also going to be talking about this week's winter storms, because some areas in the northern plains and the upper Midwest could be seeing a little bit of snow. There has been some changes with that since yesterday's video, and we're going to be talking about that, and also the severe weather like I said before. So, let's get started. So right now, this is our day 2, Alex. This is for tomorrow the 22nd, or Monday the 22nd. The SPC has a marginal risk for areas in northern Texas, most of Oklahoma, and southern Kansas right there. And then 5% wind to 5% hail, and a 2% tornado risk. And cities in that is Wichita Falls, Lawton, Oklahoma, Sherman, Texas, Ardmore, Oklahoma, and Denison, Texas. And then day 3 and day 1, day 3. Now, day 3 is Tuesday. Now, as this low moves further to the northeast, we could be seeing maybe a cold core set up across this area. And we're going to be talking about that, maybe even further to the south. So, and then later this week, it looks a lot more interesting for maybe an upcoming severe weather outbreak. So, let's go ahead and start looking at Monday real quick. So this is the 00ZHRRR. This is hot off the press. This is new. And we're just going to start off by looking at simulated reflectivity. We have a rain shield that moves through the area or not this morning, but Monday morning, which is tomorrow morning. Bringing a decent amount of rain areas like Oklahoma City. Then behind that, we have a little bit of clearing, a little bit of instability. And with that, right along the dry line, we have storms fire up, and some of them could be pretty strong to severe for areas like Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, maybe even Fort Worth or Dallas. So, looking pretty good. Even in the southern Kansas, right to the northeast of that low, we could get some severe weather up there. And go ahead and look at some parameters here. Or not parameters, but ingredients. Let's look at surface-based CAPE here. Actually, let's go over to pivotal weather for this. We're going to start off by looking at dew points. And you can see this is kind of the setup we have tomorrow. So this is Monday at 22Z. We have our surface low right here, it appears. Cold front right here. And a dry line right here. So that's kind of the setup we have. We have a warm front or some kind of front going up like this. And a pretty good moist sector in front of this. Not extremely moist there, but we have dews mainly in the 50s to almost 60 to the south of Dallas and in areas like Houston. And then, yeah, it is a pretty strong front. We have a pretty strong front with this, and a pretty interesting dry line also for the southern side. And then, let's go over to let's look at not mixed layer. See, I misclicked. Let's go to mixed layer CAPE. See how much instability we have. Then we're gonna try and take some soundings. First, let's just look at some of this. So let's just look at some ingredients. So we can see we have a narrow layer of decent instability right in front of that front, in front of the secondary cold front. Not the secondary cold front, I'm sorry, but the actual cold front. We have a little bit of instability also, so maybe a second round of storms if the air is not too dry. If we can get a sliver of moisture, we could have maybe a second round of storms potentially along that cold front. But along the dry line, it looks to be the main deal. And we see we have almost 1,000 ml CAPE, even more than 1,000 ml CAPE in areas of northwestern Texas, or not northwestern Texas, north central Texas, and a decent amount going up into Oklahoma. And even throughout the night, we have 1,000 for areas like Dallas and Fort Worth. And then we go into Tuesday, which Tuesday is also looking interesting. We're not going to talk about that yet, though. And we can look at 850 millibar winds. For tomorrow, and we can see we have a nice bit of it kind of right here. So yeah, we have around 50 to 60 knots, or around 40, let's just say 50 knots of 850 millibar winds, which that's pretty good. And we can real quickly go over to 500 millibars, and we can see this is what we have. We have a pretty cool looking wave right here. And Once this ejects, we have this. So this doesn't look bad here actually. This looks like a pretty decent setup for 500 millibar winds. Which 500 millibar winds, it's an important thing when it comes to severe weather. Well, normally I kind of look at that to figure out when we could actually have a severe weather outbreak and which days could be more interesting than others. It's really helpful, 500 millibar winds. Let's get back to severe weather. Let's look at bulk shear 0 to 6 kilometers. And you can see we have a lot of it right where we're expecting our severe weather. So with all this in mind, I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, I kind of think the SPC will put in a slight risk by tomorrow for probably this area right here. I do see a slight risk definitely possible with this event on Monday. Now, we're not going to go too much into it because we have a lot to talk about in this video. But let's talk about Tuesday now. So you can see Monday we have that. The low continues to move northeast throughout the night. And then Tuesday afternoon, we have a decent cold core setup across areas like areas of Missouri, Illinois, and cities like St. Louis. Could get hit the hardest by this. And maybe even some thunderstorms all the way out in Louisiana, maybe Arkansas, that area. We can see the surface lows around Omaha. This is tomorrow at around 3 to 5 p.m., depending on where you live. We have a low right here, and a cold front kind of stretched out like that. In front of that, we have decently moist air. Not extremely moist air, but pretty moist for this time of year in the Midwest. We got instability. And with instability, we can see you have a little tiny sliver of it through Illinois and Missouri. And then we have a decent amount, almost 2,000 in some areas of Louisiana, maybe even southeastern Texas, extreme southeastern Texas. And so let's go over to surface and precipitation. Let's go to composite reflectivity and see what the NAM is actually forecasting for Tuesday. Now keep in mind, the SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, they don't even have a marginal out for this day yet. The Storm Prediction Center has a general thunderstorm out, but I would not be surprised if they do put in a marginal by tomorrow. So we can see the NAM indicates maybe a line of storms to the east of the surface low around Tuesday. Maybe not a line, maybe like a broken line. And we do have some thunderstorm activity in the deep south also. But the most interesting part looks like it will occur in Illinois, Missouri, and kind of that area. We can take some soundings from there. Let's go to, this is 21Z. Let's take a sounding right here. And definitely not terrible. We have decent shear. Low instability though, and not extremely good thermals for sure. But we go to 0, 0, as you can see. NAM indicates a line progressing east. Let's take a sounding in front of that line. Little bit better. We have a little bit more instability, still very slim. But HOTOs are looking kind of good, and so is the shear. The shear looks decent with this. And take a sounding right here. This is after dark now. Now this doesn't appear as good. We have very low surface instability, and that overall doesn't look too good. So I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if the SPC maybe puts in a 2% for areas of Missouri and central and southern Illinois. I say right now, probably this area could see that. Maybe a little bit further to the north. But I'd say that area could maybe see a 2% tornado risk by tomorrow. If models uptrend a lot, maybe a 5%. I think that's unlikely though. So yeah, that's Tuesday now. Let's talk about our next day. So let's go out to Thursday, because Thursday's looking like, and maybe even Wednesday. Those are the days it's looking like it could get interesting again. So we go out to Wednesday. And we can see we have a lot of moisture across eastern Texas. We have our old low further to the north, even in UP and Michigan. Our new low is starting to come together right here. And we have moist air right here. Dews of almost 70 in some areas. So very moist air. Take some soundings off the GFS here. Some of these aren't bad. We have instability, very bad shear though. I don't like looks of that for tornadic activity, but it does look maybe like we could see some severe weather. Not as much in the way of tornadoes on Wednesday, but the chances of that of tornadoes will go up a lot Thursday. We got to Thursday. This is going to be a decent setup on Thursday for maybe even a severe weather outbreak. So Thursday, 21Z, so around 3 to 5 p.m. once again. We have our low in eastern Illinois and western Indiana, kind of across that area. A cold front stretched out like this, and some kind of maybe a stationary boundary in between the two lows. The old one from the day before, right there. And this low right here brings our severe weather right here, maybe Tuesday, and down here tomorrow, which is Monday. But this is our next one. This will bring impacts on Wednesday, Thursday through Friday. With severe weather. So we're going to see Thursday afternoon we have decent looking setup. We have very moist air across areas of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. This is not a terrible sign. This reminds me kind of a lot of Wednesday. Now this would favor more of a linear storm mode, but this is not a terrible sounding though. It's decent for some severe weather. We have a good amount of instability also. So keep that in mind. We can take some soundings up by the low, just to kind of get an idea of what we have. Now this shear, though, doesn't look too good. We don't have a whole lot of it. And the sounding's slightly contaminated. So it's looking like we could see a bigger day on Thursday. And this is just one model, though. We can go over to the European and see what it's saying for dews and surface low and stuff. Real quick, let's go over to the Euro. So, the Euro has a very strong low, dang. We have, even Friday, we have very moist air across the East Coast. We could see some severe weather there, but the Euro looks a lot more interesting, I'd say, for a severe weather outbreak on Thursday. We have a very strong cold front located right here, some kind of boundary extending up to that other low. And moist sector definitely looks a lot better than the GFS, at least just by looking at dews. We can't take soundings because I don't have plus, but we can look at things like 500 millibar winds real quick. And yeah, we can see this is a nice tilt. That's a little bit of a negative tilt coming in right there. And that's what we want to see, is that negative tilt. So that looks good. And go to other models. We can go to the GFS V16, which this is going to become the operational GFS pretty soon. And you can see we have our low a lot further to the south than the actual operational GFS. And well, actually, this is the 12. So let's go to the latest run. So at the latest run, it still has a low a lot further to the south. We have a nice warm sector with a lot of moist air, and not as strong of a low as the European now, but this could be maybe a more interesting scenario for severe weather than the actual operational GFS. Problem with this event would be is that areas like Kentucky, you're gonna have a lower severe weather chance due to the low being over you. So, yeah, that's the GFS V16. And then we can compare it to the Canadian. Now with the Canadian looks a lot like the European, actually. A very strong low with a nice warm sector of very moist air. Dews in the 70s almost. In areas of southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and eastern Louisiana. And once again, a pretty strong low right here. Looks a lot better than the GFS V16 and the operational GFS, the Canadian. So it does look like we're going to see some kind of maybe severe weather event. I'm not going to call it an outbreak just yet due to model uncertainty, but it looks like Thursday could be an interesting day for areas of Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, maybe the Florida Panhandle later in the day, and even western Georgia. So yeah, that's Thursday. That's the end of severe weather for now. Friday would also be an interesting day, but we're not going to go too much into Friday yet. Now let's talk about the winter weather potential with this, because that has changed a lot since yesterday's video. So we can go out to Thursday. This is our second low. This could maybe bring some snow across areas of Iowa, southern Wisconsin, maybe northern Michigan. Our first low though was the one we were watching for maybe potential significant snowfall for areas like Fargo, maybe further to the southeast. That has downtrended a lot due to not enough cold air rain. See, most of the GFS indicates most of that staying as rain. Just a little bit switching over to snow in the Arrowhead. So, and also this is another thing I have. So we're going to be comparing this is just kind of a comparison between different models for total accumulated snowfall for both of these winter storms, or for both of these lows. So the first one right there, and then Friday or Thursday and the Friday we have our second one. So it's kind of a comparison between different models. The European has most of the snow in northeastern Minnesota for around 4 to 5 inches, and a lot of snow across Wisconsin, maybe even close to 10 inches in some areas. Canadian kind of compares that a little bit. The heaviest snows in northeastern Minnesota, a little bit down into eastern South Dakota, and maybe southwestern Minnesota, maybe 1 or 2 inches in that area. And we have a decent amount in this area of only 5, so a lot less than the European, but still a significant amount of snow for that area. Or not significant, but a decent amount of snow, maybe 4 to 5 inches localized with the Canadian. GFS kind of compares to the Canadian for that area with around 3 to 4, maybe 5 inches. And heaviest snow once again is in northeastern Minnesota. GFS V16 has pretty heavy snow in northeastern Minnesota of almost 6 to 7 inches, but doesn't have as much snow as the second winter storm, only around maybe 1 or 2 inches, maybe localized up to 2.5 or 3. And the UK Met has barely any snow with that, maybe a trace in some areas to a half an inch. And then still has the heaviest snow in northeastern Minnesota. So the area that could see the heaviest snow is likely going to be northeastern Minnesota with this next snowstorm, which will occur around Tuesday through Thursday. And we'll have a second one late Thursday night and Friday, which has a chance of bringing snow to this area, but the second one is much more uncertain than the first one. We now have significant model agreement that there's going to be decently heavy snowfall accumulations for northeastern Minnesota, maybe up to 5-6 inches possible. And also just keep in mind, we're going to be seeing a lot of snow across the Rockies and even maybe in the northwestern Kansas into the Texas Panhandle. So just thought I would say that real quick. A lot of heavy snow in that area. But yeah, that's all with this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will be back tomorrow. But yes, goodbye.